All right, so today we're going to be talking all about new construction. And you can see I'm right out here in the field going all at it. I'm in the middle of a dirt pile here showing you what this new construction community looks like. We're going to cover from A to Z as best as I can about all the things you're going to need to know, want to know, and to help protect you. And just so you're familiar with the process and understand timelines and stress points and things like that.
And as always, this information is on the house.
If you look over my shoulder here, you're going to see a stake. That means that this home has already been permitted and it may already been sold. Sometimes some builders that are called track builders or spec home builders, they're going to start homes on their timeline so that they always have a home in the ground ready to be sold at some stage of the game. They can sell it at any point before they put these stakes in the ground or until the home's ready, like this one over here. That home looks pretty complete to me, but it may not be sold yet. They may want to have what's called inventory homes for people that come in off the street and say, hey, I need a home as soon as possible. Guess what? We've got one ready for you. But if you do want to build, most builders will allow you to pick out your own site plan, put the model that fits on that lot, and build your own home. Typically, that timeline looks like 6 to 8 months, but there's a lot of factors that go into that too, depending on what county it's in, how long the permitting process is, how big the builder is and their pull with the county, and lots of other things that come along the way. Weather comes into play, what trades are available from the people that put up the trusses to the people that put in the concrete blocks, the utilities, and everything that goes along with it, because it's a long game and a lot of different people that are involved in that process. So depending on your needs, you want to pick out the right builder that has the home that you like, but then find out what their timeline is for the home that you actually want. Some people, they just need a home and they know it's not their forever home, so they just take an inventory home and then maybe they decide to build later. Other people want, this is my forever home, or at least for the next, I don't plan on moving soon, and they may choose a different path and build a home that fits their needs to a T. And whether they stay with that home or not, they're getting the home that they need for their life at that time. So as you can imagine, I'm here in Florida, and if you look behind me, you're going to see a bunch of concrete blocks. 99% of the homes here that are built today, the single-story homes anyhow, are going to be made with concrete block. And you can see over here, there's some rebar behind me because we're built on sand. So the concrete, we reinforce that with rebar to make sure the foundation stays in one piece and it doesn't just crumble into the ground. Now, we do have settling issues here because we're on sand and we have a low water table. So normal settling, just like any place else, we're going to have that here. But this is a construction site, so you're going to see a little bit of everything. And depending on where you're at in the process, whether you're just starting or you're going to buy a spec home in a community that's still being built out, you're going to see a lot of construction going on. There's going to be trades at every house, every stage of house. One house might have HVAC technicians in it. The other one might just be starting and it's just a concrete block crew. So there's going to be noise and dust and trucks and debris all over the place. Builders do their best to mitigate all those things. So I'm going to kind of go the ins and outs from getting to those concrete blocks over there to this home that's ready. So you can see how close we are. This home behind me is ready to move into, but right next door are all these empty lots that still have to be built. So those are things that you're going to have to consider if you're buying this home here, is that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on right next door to you. So maybe you pick a home that's over on this street where it's pretty much all built out. You still got things going on across the street, but the houses all around you are already done, and you can mitigate some of those elements of the noise and pollution and things like that going on in your neighborhood. Okay, so I'm here at another construction site. Again, I want to show you different stages of the process and help you understand what you're looking for, what to avoid, maybe some concerns that you might have with a particular builder or with a particular home site. Because again, these are all built by humans. There's no robots. So let's take a look here. This is, obviously they haven't poured the concrete yet, but they have all the boards up to lay out the foundation of the home. And you can see right behind me that's the garage space. And I know that because it's a little bit lower than the rest of the home. So, and I can just see the outline of the home. I've done this enough to where I can see that before I even walk up. I know exactly the shape of the home. If you look right over here, this is going to be your front porch and your front entranceway, and this is your living area over on this side. And it goes all the way back. And at first glance, this is something that's hard to understand is the size and scope of the home, because if you're walking up on it, it doesn't look very big. It looks like, oh my gosh, I thought we had 2,300 square feet, and in reality, it's all there. It just doesn't fit what your imagination is telling you it should look like. So when you start imagining in your head that there's not enough room, this house doesn't look big enough, it actually is. And usually there's a model home that you can walk through, and I promise you it's going to be almost exactly to the square inch, the same size as that model home. But when you're looking at it at this stage, it just doesn't really seem like it. So what they do is, you can see there's dirt here where they've raised the foundation up a little bit over the ground level of what we have over here, our neighbor, so that we have room for water runoff, right? So every house might sit a tiny bit lower than the next house, and eventually that water goes down into a retention pond or out to a sewage system, something of that nature. So we don't want to be in a flood zone. We want to elevate the home as much as possible. So given that, also we're on sand, and like I mentioned, we have a low water table here in Florida. So you can see every square inch of this foundation is going to be covered in visqueen. And that's a vapor barrier. So moisture doesn't come up through the ground, get into your concrete, and crack that, because the water is going to expand and contract a little bit. Now the concrete will naturally settle once you start putting weight on it. They have to let that cure for a period of time. But once you start putting all the weight of those bricks and wood and windows and all the other stuff that goes on top of it, you are going to see some settling cracks over time. That's totally natural. But we want to prevent that as much as possible. So that's what this vapor barrier is for. You can also see that they've got plumbing in here. The plumbing has to go in before they pour the concrete, and it has to be spot on, because if that plumbing is wrong, then your kitchen is going to be wrong. Your toilets are going to be off a little bit, and then they're going to have to adjust that with the framing of the house if it is wrong, because the concrete, like I said, once it's poured, that's fairly permanent, and they're probably not going to change that. So it has to be done with accuracy when they're doing that. And these guys are all pros. They do that very well. But again, it's kind of a science. And if you look here, we've got more footers. There's going to be some. If you look over at this house over here, see those pilings that come up off the Lanai? That's what these footings are for right here. That's why you have that rebar inside there. These wood frames will come off once the concrete is dry, and they'll reuse those on another property. Once they pour this slab here and the concrete trucks come in, pour all the slab, then they're going to let that cure. And once that cures, they're going to start building up the blocks. And this home, once that process starts, it goes pretty quick. But like the whole process is going to take 6 to 8 months typically, again, depending on weather and permitting processes and things like that. But you'll be surprised at the progress that trades make. Kudos to the builders out there that schedule these trades, because they're time is money with every type of business. So if they misschedule somebody, or somebody takes longer than anticipated, it really eats into the profit of the builder. And that in turn, they're going to pass that on to us as consumers. So we want them to have as few delays as possible. So the time of year you build could determine how long it takes for your home to be complete. Okay, so this home here is a little bit further along. So we're going to see everything in different stages along the way. So as you can see, we have block construction on the first floor and wood construction on the second floor. And that's going to be, most builders in Florida are going to build like that. So some of the things that we want to look for here, again, you may not need to know this, but it's just curiosity sometimes, right? We want to know what everything is. So this writing on the wall here, obviously that's the home address. Whatever street this is Trapani. So it's the home address, the address, the street, and then the Wakaiva is more than likely the model name of this home. So that when the contractors and trades show up, they know, hey, we need to go to 7912 Trapini and put on the trusses on this home because it has not. We need to get a roof on it. So again, this home is in very early stages of being completed. Um, we'll go along the way in different home sites as so we can see the entire process. But I just want to give you a little sneak peek on what to expect when you look inside one of these homes. So this home, obviously, like I said, all homes in Florida are on slabs, which means we don't have basements. There are some exceptions to that, obviously. I mean, most of the basements are actually walkout basements, so they're not a full underground basement. But again, exceptions exist. But the norm is you're going to be on a slab, a concrete slab. So the foundation is all just poured concrete. But before they pour that concrete, they have to put in all the plumbing, and so that's going to come in straight from the street. They're going to measure all that out with all their tools and tips and tricks and put it in exactly the right spot according to the footprint of this home, what it's going to be. But this is kind of what it looks like. And as I mentioned before, this is what you're looking for in a window, if it's concrete block. See, I've got this ledge here. So if you're looking from the outside in, if you see this ledge, that means it's a concrete block, because you won't be able to necessarily see that when the home is finished because there'll be stucco on the outside. But that's what to expect there, of what thoughtful things that you should look into and spend money on pre-construction, because once the home is constructed, there's walls up, you can't see where things are, you can't see the studs in the wall. It might get very expensive for a contractor to come in here after the fact and add pendant lighting or outlets where you may not have thought of that you need them. A lot of people, what they do, and this is a big one, if you're a holiday buff or just like to decorate, is putting outlets in the eaves. Because if you're going to hang up lights for holidays of any sort, you're going to want those out there, because running extension cords just isn't efficient anymore, no matter what you think. So another thing that you want to consider when you're building new construction is picking out your lot. If the builder allows you to do that and they have the availability, they're not a production or a spec builder where they kind of, this is what we have available to us at this time, like it or leave it. If you get to pick your lot, that's a pretty big deal. So just know that sometimes that can come at an additional cost over and above the purchase price of the home. So this lot that I'm on now, you can see it's backing up to conservation here, and it's kind of hard to tell, but we're on top of a pretty large hill here, and this lot is looking down. So this lot is going to be definitely a premium lot, and it's going to come at a price. I don't know how much this builder's charging for that. A lot of that depends on the entitlements of the builder. So when they had to put in the utilities, and considering that they might have to put a retaining wall or something back here, they might charge extra for this lot and make up for all the pre-construction costs of those entitlements. So just know that going in, don't look at a builder's map or a website and picking out your lot, because you want to walk the lot, see exactly what's behind it, who's next to it, what responsibilities you might have as far as maintaining it, and any things that you may not like about it. Like if you look over here, you've got a utility easement right next door. There's a sidewalk where maintenance crews are going to go down to that utility easement, but and they don't need to access that very often, but just know that they're going to be there, and that's going to be part of living on this lot, right? So if you look at this one in particular, where the silt fence is, that's where your lot line is going to end. So this is the end of your yard, and you can see you get all that space all the way up to where the concrete is. This is all your yard, and the view's not so shabby either. But just know that that view could change at some point, because I don't know if you can see it. There are you can see some plumbing apparatus over here that's coming out of the ground. So they're building something there that requires plumbing, whether that be apartments or more homes. I don't know at this point, but your view is going to change. The builder that you buy this house from may not know what's going back there. They might say, oh, it's a beautiful view, it's conservation. And then you get on the lot and you realize, oh my gosh, there's going to be a 6-story apartment building right behind me, and I'm going to lose this amazing view. And that's kind of what you paid for, right? So just not that you shouldn't believe them, but they don't always have the information that's relevant to you when you're deciding at that point early on, so early that, we're still we're calling this, we're moving dirt still. So we don't know what's going to be everywhere. So take all those things into consideration when you're picking out a lot. Make sure you speak with the builder. Make sure you walk the lot. If you can't walk the lot, have the builder do it. The builder sales rep will go out there and video the lot for you, or your real estate agent can do that as well and make sure that what you might be in for. Because the builder, this certainly isn't going to be on their plans, on their map. They're not going to tell you about this, but it's here when you get here. So if you can't be in person when you're picking out the lot, just make sure you have somebody advocating for you to protect you and understand the nuances of whatever lot you picked out.
So don't miss out on it.
I'm shocked. All this information on my house.
And as always, my name.